Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
He says, as always, after I wasn't here for a week last time.
I always say as always. It's just my speech, okay? What do you
I
want
know.
from me?
I'm just saying you could improvise.
Although that said, I mean, people let us know if you preferred last week's show without Connor, and you want no Connor in future. Let us know. I will happily get rid of him. The
You can
less credit he can claim later. I'm more than happy to
Yeah, I bet.
facilitate that. So we have DC TV shows. Obviously, we're going to be reviewing this week's episodes of Flash, Arrow, Batwoman, and Supergirl. Not in that order. I just said them in that order because they're the first that came to mind. But that's what's coming up later. But we do have some meaty news. Actually, I feel like the news might be a bigger. And I'm just going to say it right now. Like, most of this week's episodes kind of sucked and were kind of dull. So the news is going to be the interesting part, and then we'll quickly review the shows. That's my plan.
Yeah, shows were not particularly thrilling.
I will be amazed if I can get to 10 minutes on Flash this week. Amazed.
I'll be amazed if I could do 10 seconds of telling you what the hell happened.
Oh, God.
All I remember is bloodwork shenanigans.
I'm not gonna lie. The biggest problem with watching these CW shows now is trying to not let my attention drift when I'm trying to watch them and not start doing other things. I have to like actively try and hit myself and to pay attention. Or in the case of today, when I was watching all four pretty much back to back, is by the time I got to the last one, keeping my eyes open at certain points. Luckily, I don't think that Lila and Diggle story seemed that important. So
I don't think you missed anything.
So hopefully those scenes that I chose to let my eyes be asleep for like 20 seconds isn't going to affect that.
Yeah, sure. 20 seconds.
It was 20 seconds. I'm sure it was 20 seconds. Look, the point is that these shows can be a challenge at times, and I think that's part of the review in and of itself. But before we get to the shows, let's talk about the news, because there was some big news this week. First of all, multiple new shows to talk about in development, one which is CW related specifically, and that is a Superman. And we've done this dance before, but this seems more official. More real this time. It feels more actual with sources.
Before it was just I mean, maybe they're gonna do it at some point.
Yeah, but Superman, although they keep referring to it as Superman and Lois, which makes me think, well, you know, it's almost going to be a true successor to Lois and Clark. They're going to name it something like that.
Do you know that's what like the first like season of Supergirl felt like, and it's kind of got away from that.
Yeah, well, this is I mean, I like to shit on CBS, but it's kind of bizarre that the best season of Supergirl was the CBS season.
And it's not to do with the budget.
No, it's the storytelling has become more CW, or almost instantly became more CW at the second it switched to CW, and it kind of lost something there. It lost something. Yeah, well, it wasn't perfect. There was definitely problems with it, but
it lost this charm that it did have.
But season 1 is the best season of the show still.
Yeah.
And season 5 does not look to be taking the crown so far. So, but no, we're looking at a Superman and Lois Lane show, and I think some of the articles have even mentioned that it's going to be, you know, and it does make sense given what we've seen on Supergirl and the crossovers recently, but that they will be parents, that we will have a kid, we will have presumably John Kent.
Yeah, I mean that's why they went off planet at the end of the last crossover. Is that then?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where it happened. But so yeah, they went off to take off to Argo. Is that what they went?
That was, yes, it was Argo. Yes,
yeah, it was Argo to go and have the baby, and I don't know how time's passing over there. They're gonna come back with a 10-year-old John Kent. Who knows? Stranger things have happened on these shows, so you know.
Yeah. I mean, the kid should be a baby, but at the same time, yeah, you probably want someone who's older for the show itself.
Yeah, remember when we did a baby with Diggle, and then they just literally changed the gender of the baby like a season later, and then we just didn't see them again, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, they're in the future."
Yeah, but there was a storyline reason for the change.
There was. They're just, you know, the point being of all just having a baby adds nothing to the show because it's just awkward for them to work around.
Sure, yeah, they'll probably do some time-wimey stuff so that he's like at least 8, so that there's someone that you can talk to and
Yeah.
have plots with, yeah. No, I mean, that'll probably happen, and they might just do it with timey-wimey stuff. And by timey-wimey, I just mean Argo's near a black hole, so time's moving quicker.
Yep.
So that different dimension that moves quicker or slower, like the Hell Dimensions on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was used to in fact, it was used for almost the exact same thing. It was just for a child who went from being a baby.
We were fine with the as we learned in Interstellar analogy. We didn't need the Buffy.
I never said Interstellar though. I said near a black hole, but that's not.
I know.
Exclusive to Interstellar.
Look, I'm borrowing Matt's quote. Just go with it.
And Tyler Hoechlin put up an Instagram post, just sort of being thankful and sort of like kind of hinting there's a secret project that he can't talk about and all the rest of
Which
it.
is what makes this more quote unquote official than any other time that we've spoken about this before.
Nah, it sounds like it might be a thing. The question is though, is this something they're doing because they know Supergirl's going to be ending maybe like after season 6, say? You know, they're like, okay, we're going to do another season of Supergirl and we want Superman and family to replace that. I mean, do we really see them having Superman or Super Dad or whatever we're going to end up calling it on the air at the same time as Supergirl, Green Arrow and the Canaries, which is what they're proposedly calling the spin-off with, because Mia's going to be the Green Arrow and then
I would just call it the Canaries and be done with it.
I don't know, there's something funny to me about the actual Green Arrow show not being called Green Arrow, but the spin-off having it in the title. There's something really funny to me about that at this point. Just do it for the banter, basically. But, you know, by that point, let's say we still get everything else on there. Nothing else ends, right? So you got Flash, Black Lightning, Legends, Batwoman, Supergirl, and Superman. Yeah, 6. There'd be 6.
And Green Arrow Canaries.
And Green Arrow and the Canaries, yeah. So there'd be 7 shows, which
is a lot of shows.
It's a lot of shows, especially when they're it's not like CW aren't ordering other shows, other pilots that they're going to be trying with.
How dare they?
So it makes sense to me that maybe the reason for this is because they know that one of the other long-running shows is maybe... And Supergirl makes the most sense because it does feel really weird to have both Supergirl and the Superman show at the same time.
It does. It feels like an easy like-for-like swap.
From a marketing point of view, it's really... I mean, obviously, as comic book fans, yeah, I like the idea of having both. I want both, you know, when it comes to comics, I want a Superman comic and I want a Supergirl comic. I want both ongoing. But when it comes to TV, from a marketing perspective for the network of advertising, unless one...
differentiates them enough.
You could have Supergirl on TV and have Superman movies. You could have Supergirl on CW and have maybe Superman on HBO Max, possibly. Sure. But having both on CW feels really redundant.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, so
it's going to be weird though, given how many Superman villains we've kind of used in some form or another.
That's true, but there's also a ton we've not used. There is, and there's nothing to say that they can't somehow resurrect Lex just for the purpose.
Well, I mean, he's already in the Crisis, so
that's true. Yeah, we'll have Earth, 15 Lex or whatever. Who cares?
We did Lex, we did Metallo. Done Parasite.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't touched Brainiac, have we?
Not proper Brainiac. Obviously, we've had Brainy, but yeah, we've not had the Brainiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they can wrangle it whatever way they want. It's fine. So no. I'll be honest. The biggest. I mean, I like the actors and the roles. I'm all for. As a continuity thing, expanding out this way, that's cool as a comic book fan. I will say, all these CW shows right now are not in their best place for me, so it's hard to get excited about another one. But that's just more to do with purely with the quality across the board right now. On the other hand,
there's like, the optimistic part of me is like, well, maybe a refresh and a fresh show will at least feel better. Like Batwoman is probably more interesting to watch than, say, Supergirl. I'm not sure it's necessarily
right now.
Better.
It is, yeah,
right now, but it's just fresher. Things are new, so it's like, okay, it's different, I guess.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, I mean, I had a conversation on Twitter this week about the CW shows being very lazy in terms of writing, and they are. Writing's a hard job, and I do not envy anyone who writes scripts full time. Whenever I've tried to do it, it has been an absolute nightmare. The willpower, the sheer willpower to get you through a screenplay, never mind on a regular basis like TV writers do. I do not envy it, and I do not say that it is easy or ever easy, but the reason why I think it's difficult is because you're not supposed to take these really easy shortcuts that I feel the CW writers are constantly taking. The way they casually mention why someone's not in an episode is just such an easy little exposition line. It's just like, no, this is what makes this poor writing. So anyway, I don't want to put a damper because this is potentially exciting news. I just it's hard to be super excited for more CW stuff right now, and I realize the entire point of this podcast is more CW stuff. But let's be honest, we're at a point now where we watch them more to make fun of them than we do to enjoy them.
And basically, we're waiting for Crisis.
And I mean, the crossovers the last couple of years have been good, so I'm looking forward to Crisis.
Do you know what could have made this news really exciting? Yeah, okay, there's a Superman show coming.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Brandon Routh doing the Kingdom Come Superman, essentially spinning out of Crisis. Because he's off Legends, and it's not because of a scheduling thing. It's not because he wanted out. It was because of, hey, we're writing your character out, and we're sorry.
I mean, they could still have him like guest on this occasionally as Kingdom Come Super. If we do some more multiverse shenanigans,
they could. But I mean, how much? Well, I like this Superman and this Lois one. It's going to feel very similar, I think, at its core. But that would have been just something very different.
I think my main concern would be the same again. It'd just be the quality. Like it'd probably just it will be lazily as written as much probably. Unless
probably, but I mean, it would. I would assume it would feel different doing an older.
It's not to say that I don't believe they could have a good writing team on a CW show and have a CW show stand out. I mean, to an extent, Legends does. Although Legends is still a cartoon, it's not exactly great drama in that sense. I'm not saying CW can't achieve that, but there's a precedent at this point. After all these shows, and obviously Black Lightning is better, don't get me wrong, Black Lightning is a better show, but it's still not necessarily reaching the heights of, say, something like, I don't know, Doom Patrol, for example, which is very good.
To be fair.
Very good. Or even right now on HBO, Watchmen is pretty good and doing
I'll have to take your word for it.
Interesting things and I mean, I'll just say this, episode 2 had Blue Dick. Right, it's not the Blue Dick you're thinking of, but there was Blue Dick.
that is as close to blue balls as it's gonna get.
I thought I cracked this joke on Twitter, but I'm going to do it again on a show. I thought Tobias Funke had shown up, and then blew himself. However, then I remembered that he's a never nude, so it couldn't be him. I'll leave that joke there for Arrested Development fans. But yes, so. Yeah. Worst case scenario, it's another show for us to force ourselves through and yell about on this for your amusement, and because that's what this has mostly become now. We love Legends, but otherwise that's what this is. The actual good show that we're still going to cover, which is Doom Patrol, is going to get done separately, just as a TV review, as opposed to on this podcast.
Because it deserves better.
Yes, it deserves the full attention of an individual review, and likewise anything else in DC Universe or HBO Max, which leads me nicely on to the next thing that I was going to talk about, which is Greg Berlanti's at it again. He's got 2 shows in development for HBO Max. And,
this man never sleeps.
And it's worth mentioning as well is that DC Universe this week made a point to say that they're going to have more original content from them, and that the HBO Max stuff isn't the exact headline in this article from Newsarama is DC Universe tells subscribers HBO Max is friend, not foe. It's an interesting way of describing it, but they're trying to assure everyone that this is not like them winding down and everything just switching over to HBO Max, even though I think they should be, to be honest. I don't think it should be a separate thing. It should just be part of that service.
I think they should roll the
shows, not the comics,
well,
obviously.
Here's the thing. I think all the shows should be produced under HBO Max and should be on HBO Max. I also think they should keep the DC Universe service alive, mainly for the comic subscription service, which is a direct competitor to Marvel.
But still put the shows on there.
But still just put them all on there as well anyway, because why not?
Presumably then you should be able to get a discount on your DC Universe subscription if you already have HBO Max.
Bundle. I think they should do a bundle of just rolling them in.
Yeah, that makes some sense. Because right now, again, this is from a branding and marketing point of view, it gets a little bit murky because they've flat out said that Doom Patrol Season 2 is going to be on HBO Max the same time as Universe, but our other show's going to be on there at the same time.
It is, and I mean, I can't remember how much I pay for DC Universe. I think it's like $7 or something like that. But I mean,
7 or 8.
Get HBO Max and pay an extra $3 or $4 on top of that, so that you get your comic service and whatever else they do that's not going to be on there.
Yeah,
Because I
no,
think
makes sense.
HBO Max also announced they're getting all the Superman and Batman movies on there.
Which is funny because when they announced that, I was like, well, yeah, DC Universe already has that, I think, more or less.
I think they rotate them, so they're not always all there at the same
Really?
time.
They're rotating them?
Yeah, they rotate a lot of them. So you'll get like 3 months with the 4 classic Superman movies, and then they'll go away, and you'll get 3 months with
That's just
some
stupid.
other set of things.
The whole point of these in-house services where there's no middleman is that there shouldn't be rotation of content. It should be, no, our entire library is there forever. That's what you're paying for. On top of the new content, it's the back catalogue you're paying for.
That's what it was. I haven't looked at that in a while because I don't watch anything like that on there. I don't watch any of the movies because I don't need to.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so the 2 shows that are in development. So we have a Green Lantern show, which they are keeping mum about in terms of details. So we don't know which Green Lantern it'll be based on. Maybe it'll be more than one. Maybe it'll be the whole team. Maybe it'll be
core.
Yeah, maybe a whole core. Maybe it'll be set entirely in space. Maybe it'll be one of the Earth Lanterns on Earth as a main character. Maybe with others as sub-characters, but, with one clearly, this is clearly the Jon Stewart show. This is clearly the Kyle Rayner show. Whoever.
It's not going to be the Kyle Rayner show.
He's a better choice than most of the rest. He's my number 2 pick. I'll take a Jessica show first, but I'll take a Kyle Rayner show second.
I think Jessica's actually reasonably likely.
I think Jessica's a good shout as well. Yeah.
I think honestly, it's either going to be Hal, John, or Jessica.
As long as it's not Guy.
As much as Guy is my favorite, there's no way he's the lead. It's not first.
As long as it's not Guy. We're not doing Guy. And then the other one, which is a little bit different from the other Berlanti DC shows, it's called Strange Adventures. And I assumed when I saw this title it was an Adam Strange thing. And apparently HBO Max's Twitter also accidentally tweeted something implying that too. But it's actually an anthology show, and the idea is that each episode will just be like it's almost like something that DC have done in the past with comic books, where they'll do like an arc about one character that's like a lesser used character and then move on to a different character. It sounds like we'll be doing that on an episode to episode basis. I think what's interesting here, or more intriguing here about these, is that because they're for HBO Max, if you look at the fact that Berlanti did Riverdale, right, but then you look at Sabrina on Netflix, which is kind of tangentially related, but it definitely feels like a different show. It feels like something that is more Netflix, a bit more adult. Yeah. It is a little better written. It's not a bit teenagey, don't get me wrong, but it
doesn't feel CW though.
It doesn't feel super CW. It feels like a slightly more mature version of CW, but better, I guess is the key word. And I think I'm intrigued by these shows, especially the Green Lantern one, because if it's going to be bigger budget, because HBO Max have got a deeper pocket than DC Universe or CW, then that's cool. Works for a Green Lantern show for a start. But secondly, if it means that we can actually have better writing, then I would be most pleased.
I'm really intrigued by Strange. Maybe not as actively excited as the Green Lantern one, because that's Green Lantern. I know what I'm getting. I don't know who I'm getting, but I know what I'm getting. Yeah,
and and going forward, as far as do we cover these new shows as part of the podcast or as separate reviews? That is just going to be case by case. It just based on how they feel. Does it feel like it fits into this, or does it feel like something that should be on its own? Truth be told, if it ends up in something that happens when the CW shows aren't on, then it's probably just better to do it as an individual review, as rather than sort of have the podcast active just for one show for whatever period of time. But at the same time, maybe this Green Lantern thing will be connected to the CW shows. Maybe they'll say this is that universe's Green Lantern. He's just away from Earth. Maybe it's more relevant.
It's all Diggle.
So that is happening. Obviously, we've speculated for years about a possible Green Lantern show. It's nice to see Green Lantern get some spotlight. I don't know. It's funny. I feel like there's been a real. I was thinking about this actually. I was watching the shows this week and how just not into them in terms of quality anymore I am for a lot of them, and how optimistic I used to be. And in some cases, yes, some have gotten worse over time. And I wonder if part of it isn't so much that some of them have gotten legit worse. It's just that
just got sick of it.
There's so many of them now that the flaws are just more grating and they're more in my face. And because now that we have like 5 shows, and we've had 4 or 5 shows for years at this point. Because I think once we had Legends and Supergirl launched, we had 4 shows, and we've had 4 then for. I mean, Supergirl's on season 5, so's Legends, so we've had 4 shows consistently for 5 years at this point. And after a while, like, all the problems become very apparent, very glaring. All the things that maybe you let slide early on when it was just one or two shows because you were just excited to have a DC TV show that was on regularly that explored different Flash characters or Green Arrow characters or whatever, or Supergirl characters, Superman
We're at
characters.
a point now where we feel like we can expect better.
Yes, now it's like, okay, just having them's not enough. Now we need some actual quality. And it's the same with the Marvel things as well. Those Netflix shows for Marvel seemed exciting at first, and then by the time we got to the season 2s for all of them, it was like, oh my god, these are actually far too slow. We need better than this.
Yeah. What we needed was Agents of Shield.
Agents of Shield's actually, yes, very good. Season, that back little chunk of season 1 onwards, Agents of Shield is very, very good. And
it's the Tracks, I think is the name of the episode, is the turning point.
Oh no! That was kind of like a prelude to the good part. That was like a one-off, slightly better episode.
That's the sign of, okay, this show actually has potential.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, but it didn't get good until the episode after Winter Soldier.
It's like 17, I think.
Turn is the name of the episode, I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, and I know this is probably blasphemy. I know there's people probably listening to this who hate Marvel and love DC, and are probably going to be horrified to hear me say this, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is better than all the DC shows. CW, you know what I meant to say.
I did. I was just waiting for you to notice.
CW shows, you know what I meant to say, right?
Yeah.
Even Legends, and I love Legends. Legends is head and shoulders above the rest, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a better show.
It has dramatic storytelling that S.H.I.E.L.D. does.
No, I care about the characters on that show.
I might sometimes enjoy Legends more, just on a pure, okay, I'll just stick this on and enjoy it.
Yes.
But S.H.I.E.L.D. is a objectively better show in every sense.
Yes. So, yes. Well, every sense except the fact there's not enough Bebo. If you add in Bebo, no contest.
Bebo objectively improves everything.
Yes. So,
man, why doesn't Doom Patrol have Bebo?
So there's a headline here from Newsarama. I'm going to read out the headline exactly as they've written it because they've got a really poor typo that's really obvious and they really should have fixed by now. DC Universe's Harley Quinn season 1, only half the episodes ordered. Yes, the S is missing in the word season. It just says season.
Okay, are they saying it's only going to be 10 episodes instead of 20?
13 instead of 26, but yes, that's the idea.
Okay. Is it that they haven't finished doing the others? They're still... are they cancelled, or is it just okay?
This is not like Young Justice, where they've just announced it's split in half. This is the season 1 finale is episode 13, and it'll air on 21st of February. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the other 13 won't happen and be called season 2, but at least right now it's just like saying, hey, this is it. I mean, maybe they'll still call the second half, season 1 part 2, but at least right now the description for episode 13 says the season finale. So whether that's just some wording that's been crossed in the wires, or they're just
it's interesting because with an animated show, I would have expected them to all been produced by this point, given that it's been that close to the launch. So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. So while not they call the second half season 2, or just call it the rest of season 1, and they've just accidentally called this the finale. Remains to be seen, but that's the thing. And there you go. So that was the news. So quite me, some interesting things. So without further ado, we'll get into the shows. Supergirl season 5 episode 4. It's called In Plain Sight. The opening scene of this, which felt very rushed in terms of pacing to me. They're kind of hunting Mal, Jean's brother, and. I actually thought it was a nightmare scene at first because it was Kelly running around and she's sort of looking like tense and scared, and I thought it was a nightmare scene of like Mal coming to get her and she's like going to have she's having recurring nightmares just because of the way it was shot. And then it wasn't. It was actually Jean pretending to be Kelly, and then everyone was there ready to ambush him. But anyway, people have been
he's inceptioning people.
Yes, people have been mocking this scene on Twitter, and not just like fans of the show. Like, I've seen this is apparently done the widespread. Like, look at how bad this clip is of Supergirl, and like everyone who doesn't watch is making fun of it because of the effects in this scene, because of the kind of cheesy nature of it. And it's not good. I'm not going to stick up for it. I will say, having watched the show for 4+ seasons now, this is just like business as normal to us. I don't know what the big deal is.
I mean, don't know. I'm not saying it was a great scene. It didn't feel particularly bad. Like, pacing was off, but effects were on par for normal.
I thought the CG, because sometimes the CG on the Martians, their faces looks really rough. There was a fair bit of that in this scene. I think basically for people who have not seen any of the show, at least not in a long time, this was a really condensed source of a lot of the bad stuff that we were just kind of used to, and we were just like, whatever, it looks fine. It's not even I'll be honest, the worst moment of this episode, effects-wise, and not because it looked bad from a pure CG point of view, just because of the physics of it looked terrible, is when that woman with wind powers blows Supergirl out the window.
Yeah.
And she goes flying out. It looks so silly.
Yeah, that did not look good.
Anyway, this episode was rough. I thought, this season's been kind of rough for the most part. I thought last episode was a little bit better. And I do mean a little bit. Mainly just because I felt like Mal almost making Kelly stab herself in the throat with a piece of glass was quite dark. I was like, oh, he's actually a bit more interesting now, because that was quite
I'll be
vicious.
honest, I was watching that as my drunk prep thing yesterday.
Oh, were you?
As I was getting ready for Flash and Arrow, and I may have had a reasonable amount during Supergirl as well, without intending to. I had to catch up on last week's stuff still.
Yes. Because as we previously mentioned, you weren't here, and I flew solo, and what a noble journey it was. So
sure, it was dreadful.
You say that, but Supergirl is investigating this woman because they're looking at her and Nia looking into William, and like it leads them to this woman who has wind powers. I'm not entirely sure why. Yeah,
it's a bit random.
They mentioned intergang connections.
Really disjointed, doesn't it?
Yeah, they mentioned intergang connections at one point, and some.
It's the guy was undercover. He was actually Interpol.
Yes, but William's a journalist from the UK. He's there for, I don't know what paper he said he was there for.
I feel like it was. For some reason my head's going to the Times, but I'm sure it was a made up one.
Yeah, no, I think it was a made up. It was something like the London Post or something like that, or.
Yeah, it was the London Times, which is why I'm thinking Times.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But he so this is the thing. I breathed a sigh of relief a couple episodes ago when we found out he had a wife, because I was like, oh, maybe that means he's not going to be some bad love interest then, because he has no chemistry with her, and he's Mr. Boring British man, and it's tedious already. And this episode, we find out that he's not really married. It's all a ruse just to sort of throw people off his scent for some reason. And
he's a dick just to throw people off his scent.
Yes, we literally have a scene here where he says, no, I'm not really a dick. I actually love your writing. It's beautiful. It's artistic.
It's art. I've got craft. You've got art.
Yeah, it's very impressive, and I hope one day you'll forgive me. And I've not quite asked you to marry me yet, but I'm clearly getting there. So how about you fall in love with me, Kara, over the next few episodes? And
this is going to be dreadful, isn't
and
it?
I cringed, and I'm like, what? Why is this show so garbage at giving Kara love interests that are actually worth a damn? Because they've all sucked. And there's not even been that many. They actually stayed away from it for a while because Mon-El was so terrible and everyone hated him.
They were like, we need to give this some space.
But this guy is already, like, he's not as bad as Mon-El yet, but he's bad.
He's got a smug prick face.
He does have a smug prick face. He's like a smug prick version of O'Reilly, which is actually
he is.
Which is actually impressive that it makes Mon-El this show's version of Angel. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's not right. Angel's way better. What are you talking about?
No, this guy is terrible. They have no chemistry at all.
She's had no chemistry with anyone in this show, relationship-wise. I don't...
Even when she's been, like, dating, like, two of them.
Yeah, because I cracked a joke in season 1 when her then husband guest starred, and I said they two have no chemistry, and someone told me, maybe you, that they were married, and I went, what? And then they were divorced within, like, 6 months, and I said, hey, see, I told you they had no chemistry. Clearly, I can see things. And then it turned out, like, her and, like, whoever plays Mon-El were dating. I'm like, what? But they had no chemistry. And now they're married, and I'm like, well... Give it a year, maybe tops, right? That's all I'm saying.
Is this guy next?
She's going to divorce Mon-El because she's going to have a relationship with this guy who she equally has no chemistry with. I don't know what it is. She just has no chemistry with anyone. I don't know if it's like. I don't know if it's just they don't know what her type should be. I mean, clearly she doesn't know what her type should be either in real life. Maybe Melissa Benoist just clearly doesn't know what sort of man to look for. But
Like, the thing is, she's generally a very good actress.
she is, and she's she's got a lot of charisma. She has a lot of chemistry with herself.
She does, and but the reason why I almost feel like the chemistry problem. I want to blame her for it because it's consistent with her and whoever's there, right?
They keep casting these bland, like, white boys, though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to describe them. They're just... Actually, do you know who she had chemistry with? She had chemistry with Win. If they actually did a relationship program with Win, it might actually have worked.
Yeah.
They actually had chemistry.
They did.
It might have worked with Win. He was
Notably,
likable.
he was a better actor than any of the others.
He was a better actor. Yes, he was a better actor. Well, this is the thing. They keep casting these bland, good-looking dudes to play the love interest, and Win actually can act.
CW 101, I think you just hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, but they lucked out with Benoist.
They did.
Because that could have easily have been, like, you know, bland, pretty girl to be Supergirl.
Typically, their leads are a little bit better. Typically. Not always.
Not always.
Typically.
So I don't know what's going on. So this was tedious as shit. So we know this about him now. He's trying to expose Andrea, who's up to whatever, no good.
Yeah, she's something or other.
There's a whole plot where Mal incepts Alex, so Alex like makes Jean cry, and then Jean makes Supergirl cry, and she's like, wait, no. Nia couldn't have said these things to me because to Alex because she was with me all day. And it's like, must be Mal. So you know, they have a whole thing where they ambush him in a presentation at like a science exhibit or something like that. It's like a theater room, but it's like sciencey stuff. It's like it's like the sort of like theater you get like a museum with like a show on or something like that. And they have a bit of an ambush with him.
Bit of a tussle.
Yes, and there's like, I don't know, like Brainy's trying to figure out his Phantom Zone projector all episode, so he's torturing Jean with it to get it right.
Pretty much.
Lena's brought on board to help with the science, and she actually ends up stealing.
Evil Snakey. Yeah,
she ends up stealing, not the Phantom Zone, but like instead of sending him to the Phantom Zone, she actually captures Mal and has him imprisoned. Once again, so we actually did we do this like last season where Lena had someone imprisoned like half the season? No, that was season before. It was Rain. She had like Rain in prison for like 5 episodes or something like that in season 3. That was the thing. So yeah, she's super all mustache twirly now. Yeah,
I mean, it's okay in the sense that she's one of the better actresses on the show. She pulls off the smug evil thing quite nicely.
See, I'm going to disagree that she's one of the better actresses on the grounds that she can't do the friendly friend at all. Like, she's never legitimately came across as just a good friend to Kara. She's always felt kind of slimy, even when she's not meant to be. She does villainous better.
Well, here's the thing. I always got the feeling that that's because Lena can't actually do friendly. It just Kara's just really naive.
I don't know. I think the show wanted us to care about the friendship. I think they did. I just don't.
Okay. I don't know. I think
I genuinely... maybe it's just because I see too many shippers online who love Supercorp, right? That's what they call the shipping.
Of course they do.
And maybe it's just all them. I'm just used to seeing them, and I'm like, oh, they're supposed to be... Not in love like the shippers one, but like they're supposed to be like these besties, these absolute best upon besties, and there's something so funny about it where every time they have like a lunch date or something, it feels so... I don't know. Like it always, because do you know what it is? It's because they always have scenes where they talk about it first. Because I'm having lunch with Lena and like whatever, and I'm like, real friends don't talk about it. You're
describing half of last episode.
Real friends don't talk about it. They just go for lunch. like a real friend interaction about going for lunch is like, hey, do you want to go for lunch? Yeah, all right, I'll meet you in 10 minutes. Like that's a real friend.
Yes.
Going for lunch.
But your real friends aren't billionaires.
True. Lena's busy. Also, Supergirl can just fly around the world and get whatever food she wants. I feel like her getting her scone from Ireland was just a little wink because she's Irish.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I did know she was a terrible person and said scone and not scone. And she did go down a bit in my estimation after that, I'm not gonna lie.
Who? Which one?
Lena.
I feel like in her case, she's probably changing it for. That's her American. That she's doing
I
the
don't know.
American.
I know lots of English people will say scone as well.
All right, I don't care.
It's one of those regional debates where
Scone,
someone will say
scone.
one thing. Yeah.
I feel like I flip. You probably catch me say either one on any given day. It's the same with David Bowie or Bowie. I say both. I flip flop all over the place. I always second guess myself before I say his name. I always forget what I usually say, so it comes out that like different every time.
I get that with with a name, but scone. It's like
Scone.
you have a decision on that, and you've made that very early in life, and you stick to it. Vase or vase, scone or scone.
Did I say it before you did?
Yeah, you said scone.
Okay. I don't know if I always say that. I'm sure I say scone sometimes.
That's worse than the people who always say scone.
I don't care. I don't get worked up about these petty little things like you do.
You should. Lots of people do. This isn't just me.
Where was I? I don't know. Yeah, robot test maker still helping her. Blah blah blah. What was the other main plot of this episode? Jimmy and Kelly. Oh, I hated this. Do you know what's funny?
I liked one singular moment of this entire plot.
Oh, he decided to leave?
Two singular moments of this entire plot.
No, see, for me, is when it started, I thought they were getting rid of them for a few episodes, and them riding off at the end of the last episode was them going away for a while, but no, we just follow them to this shitty little town. So much of this was contrived. This was what I'm talking about with lazy CW writing, is that they have to write them out the show because the actor's leaving, so they came up with this one episode contrived reason for him to leave, and
we'd already had like 3 different reasons over the past 3 episodes.
It was the same. It was same when Thea left Arrow. It was the same when whoever, like, pick a character who's left one of those shows.
But this is particularly frustrating because he was offered to run for Senate.
Yes, they go to a small town, and it's where they grew up, and they run into like some teenagers who are like using their old house as like a squatting place just to like study. Which is weird. Yeah. It's like, hey, they're squatters, but it's because they have nowhere else to go. But they're good kids, man. Like, I don't know. This all felt really contrived. Like, even at that point. But then like, they find out that this kid's
to run into him again.
Yeah, and we do. Kelly does a nice thing. Oh, I was going to pay for this thing that was shoplifting.
She says, "Oh, it's not stealing if you didn't leave the store with it." I mean, intention is a significant part of law.
I mean, if he slipped it into his pocket already, I feel like you can accuse him of shoplifting. I mean,
I'm pretty sure he already had. That was kind of the point, right? He picked it up and was taking it and was walking out and then got caught.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm with the shopkeeper here. You can probably call him out on this shit.
I mean, this is the weird thing about the scene is I think the scene's going for the shopkeeper's profiling him, right?
But he is actually stealing.
But he was actually stealing, yes. So it was kind of a weird. I mean, like, if you want to argue he was being too rough with him because he kind of had him by the arm and he was kind of dragging him around. Maybe like they were going for that. I don't know.
Sure.
But you can do this sort of thing without it sounding like they're trying to crucify the shopkeeper from like dealing with thieves, like because but they're doing that whole thing. Oh, he's too hungry to He's hungry. He's got no money. He needs to eat. Blah blah blah. And we find out that his mother's went to prison, and they're wrongfully convicting or harshly convicting people like in the town. Like that his mother stole like a toaster or something like that. It was like something really cheap.
Heater or something.
Yeah, it was like a $30 electrical good, and she got 10 years, which is extreme. That's absurd.
It's ludicrous.
And Jeremy's like, why doesn't no one do anything about this? And the kids.
And I feel like this is where the poor writing really shows up. This show, especially, I think Supergirl is especially guilty of this, of the CW shows, of trying to highlight actual issues like, hey, the privatization of a prison system is kind of screwed up.
Yeah, that's what they're getting at here. They're getting to that, but they're doing it in this really convoluted way where we find out in one episode of this random teenager that they befriend, and then the part that really, pissed me off was afterwards Jimmy's like, hey, so I spoke to my lawyer friend, she's going to take your mum's case, she'll meet with you on Monday, and he's like, you're not going to be here? He's like, well, no, I need to go back to the site, I've got a job, I've got a life, I need to do things. And he's like, oh, you're just like everyone else, you don't want to stay in this shithole town, you just want to leave and go home. And he storms off on his bike, And I'm like, why would you expect him to stay? Why is it on him to stay? Why is Jimmy, you're not a villain because you've got a life to go back to. This is such convoluted bullshit.
And you literally just went, I set up a lawyer. I'm dealing with it as best as I can. A professional is dealing with it, not me.
Why does this teenager expect this? I mean, I get, okay, maybe he likes Jimmy and he's disappointed that he won't be sticking around, but to act like, have a little tantrum and be like, oh, you're just like everyone else. It's not on him to have to stay here.
Yeah, the kid's like 15, not 8.
Yeah, like, this is just bullshit writing. And of course, by the end of the episode, Jimmy's like, you know what, no, I've got a purpose. I'm going to buy this paper because I'm rich enough for that. Is he rich enough, even like a small town paper, is he rich enough for that?
Probably, given that, he was like the head of a
That's true. I'm forgetting that he was technically the editor-in-chief for like 2 years. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A cushy salary, I imagine, up there in his high-rise office.
But yeah, so that's our reason to get rid of him at the end of episode 4.
And then he gives the kid his camera that his dad gave him.
Yeah, so now he's his Jimmy, and he's like, "No, don't call me Chief," because that's what he called Perry. He's like, "Call me Jimmy."
I got a chuckle at that when the kid's like, "Oh, thanks, Chief." He's like, "Don't call me Chief."
Yeah, but he's like, "Nah, call me Jimmy," and it's like him embracing his real Superman name again.
Finally. I mean, we've been calling him Jimmy for 5 years anyway, but.
I do like that as a choice. I like the idea that now that he's back in a newspaper office, more like a Daily Planet, because obviously he was at a magazine, he was doing something different. The idea that he's become what he used to think of as Perry as, he's like, no, now I'm Jimmy again, because now I'm like, because he doesn't want to honor him by taking Perry's name, which was Chief, in that context. He wants to do it by saying, this is what Perry called me, so I'm going to be Jimmy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. There's a nice conceptual thing there, but
yeah, which is why I say that was the moment I liked, because it was okay. This was a nice.
Sure, no, that's fine. No, I agree. That scene on its own is a nice little scene.
Yeah.
Supergirl getting
blown. The highest praise we're going to give it this episode.
Blown out the window though. Looked absolutely ridiculous and silly, and I couldn't keep a straight face. Brainy was also mopey about Nia the whole episode. And then by the end, is like, hey, I'm going to try and not be a dick and try and, be myself, but also not be obsessive at the same time. So they kind of made up.
I got a chuckle when when Lena was like, you need to ask for help, and he physically couldn't.
I mean, yeah, Brainy's usually pretty entertaining. I mean, he's good in that moment. I also liked when Nia calls Alex and he's behind her and he kind of turns like, is that Nia? He
just turns around.
And he's just sort of paying attention the whole time. Yeah, that was kind of amusing. Yeah. He's pretty good. Although the actor's in my bad books because he was in The Howling Reborn, which I did for streams this month, and that movie was absolute garbage, and he should be ashamed of himself. I don't care how young he was. I don't care how bad he needed acting gigs. Shame on you. Shame on everyone involved in that movie.
Oh, please, you'd have got involved for $200.
Hey, nah, I mean, like, he probably worked like enough days in that $200 is still far too little.
Yeah, I know, but that's my point. Is that's you've got no principles when it comes to if they're paying you, you do it.
No. If I'm getting paid to be in a movie, I'm at least wanting the actors the going rates. I'm not going to sell myself short. Even extras would get paid at that for like a few days' work.
Oh, I know.
Or even less than that, actually.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You're saying they should all be ashamed. They shouldn't do it. But, you do it as soon as they offer you some cash.
A suitable amount of cash, sure.
Yeah, you mean the exact amount of cash that he'll have gotten?
Couple hundred a day, all right? I'll do it for a couple hundred a day. No more, no less. Actually, no, I'll do it for more as well, actually. Of course I'll do it for more. If you want to pay me 10 grand a day, I'll do it.
I was going to say, that didn't really work.
Next up, Batwoman, Season 1, Episode 4. Who Are You is the name of the episode. There was a Buffy episode, actually, with this title as well. This was the episode where Buffy and Faith swap bodies in Season 4.
Thrilling.
So, we have... this Magpie. Magpie was stealing eggs and shit.
Yeah. I like Magpie as a rule.
Oh, I just turned myself up by accident. Huh? I need to fix that. I went really loud there for a second. I apologize to everyone. Sometimes you accidentally click the mouse. I clicked it right at the soundbar and it went up by like 10 decibels.
So unprofessional.
You didn't hear it because this was only in the recording, but
no, but I saw it.
yeah, you saw it. I went way into the red there for a second. I may have to find that in the timeline and just drop it so that it's not bursting people's eardrums for that like couple of seconds. So yes, Magpie's doing that. But I'll say this about episode 4. I'll say this because I don't know if you agree with me, but I thought episode 3 was a notable step in the right direction. Still had a lot of problems, but it was definitely the most fun of the 3 episodes so far.
Sure.
And all the elevator stuff. You had Tommy Elliott. Yeah. She became Batwoman properly. There was some fun stuff.
I know you spoke about this last week. Tommy Elliott makes a kind of Riddler reference.
He does, yeah.
Was that supposed to be a reference to the Hush story with Riddler?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. Because I was speculating. I didn't say what it was. I didn't want to spoil it for people, but I was speculating. Will we see Tommy Elliott come back and become, what he becomes? Right? I was wondering. But anyway, and I thought this kind of maintained that to a point where I think the actual Batwoman stuff itself, I actually quite enjoy for the most part. There is one really silly bit. Apparently, Magpie 3D prints explosives, and she does the Martha Wayne pearls, which are on display at one point. And there's a scene.
Always comes back to the pearls.
And there's a scene towards the end where these pearls are rolling down towards people, and Batwoman jumps to shield everyone with her cape.
At the little girl.
Well, but no, before we get to that, because that's stupid because of just how ridiculously accurate it is. But you know what? I'll accept that because at least in that case, the girl was holding it right up to her face, so it would have done damage. The problem I had with the first part is that she's jumping around doing all these little spin moves with her cape to shield all the explosives. First of all, how did she know what order they were going to explode in? Second of all, these explosions look so bad and they're so small that I'm like, you didn't have to shield anyone from anything. First of all, you're doing that under your cape and it's hitting you in the crotch. So clearly the explosives aren't that big a deal because they're not getting through your suit. And I realize you've got kind of, Kevlar and shit on. Not the crotch, right? You're not protecting your crotch with Kevlar, I don't think.
I mean, speak for yourself. That'd be my highest priority of where to protect.
Yeah, but Kate doesn't have something to shoot off, so maybe not as top priority, depending.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll still hurt. Don't get me wrong. There's reasons to protect it. She may want kids someday, but anyway, the point I'm getting at is that these explosions look so tiny that I'm they look like firecrackers. Why are you protecting anyone? As long as it's to keep at least a meter away from them, there's no problem.
Yeah. No, the one that got me with the kid is
it looks silly.
It seemed like they were would hit smacking it with a batarang, not set it off.
Yeah, my problem is that these things are maybe less than half an inch thick, these little pearls. So the girl's holding it like that, and the batarang just hits the pearl without hitting the kid's fingers. So the accuracy on that hit is insane. Yeah. Because what I thought would happen is that she just hit the hand, because that'd be the target you would feasibly be able to hit. And it would hurt the girl's hand, but it would save her life because it would knock the explosive, a bit away. And it'd be like, sorry I hurt you, kid, but, I had to save you. And I do like the moment itself afterwards where she's, got the girl, in her cape, and the kid, and the kid's kind of oh, Batwoman. In fact, she says the exact line from Batman Begins that little, the Game of Thrones twerp says in that, on the fire escape. She's like, it's really you. I think that's the line. But it was exactly word for word what he says in Batman Begins. It was the same moment.
Yeah.
So this idea that the kids are going to start looking up to Batwoman, so having a little girl do that makes a lot of sense, and
it does. Yeah.
So that was fine. Anytime she was in the suit, I like that she's got a mailed voice changer for when she's talking to characters.
It's enough that it's different, but it's not distracting.
It's not silly. It's not Batman v Superman with the ultra
garbled electronic.
And for one of the things I said last week is that Mary grew on me a bit. I thought Mary was actually kind of funny last week with the stuff in the elevator with the others, and sort of the romantic tension was happening. All of her reactions were kind of playful.
I liked her last episode. I found her a little bit irritating this one.
I was fine when she was talking to Batwoman this week. We find out that the injured guy that Batwoman had captured, that she takes to Mary for medical assistance. Alice is looking for someone called Mouse. I'm assuming Mouse is just a code name, obviously, given you know,
I would have assumed so. Yeah.
all of her.
It's funnier if it's not.
That's true. If the guy just called Mouse. Who are
Like,
you?
she does the same thing we are and assume it's a code name. And it's like, nah, it's just a guy who goes by Mouse.
What's your real name? No, Mouse is my real name. Mouse Smith. I'm Mouse Smith. Pleasure to meet you. Actually, no, it's better if it's a last name. Actually, it works better. John Mouse. That actually has a nice ring to it almost.
Yeah,
John Mouse. Yeah. Detective Mouse.
I can see it.
But yeah, that was okay. I mean, Jacob's just kind of sitting reviewing footage. They find out that the explosive from the bridge last week that helped Alice escape was from an inside job. The explosive came from somewhere within the Crows. So that's a bit of a mystery there. But of course, the stepmother, the new wife, comes in and admits that she actually paid off the ME to.
I think it was her company that found it, and it that found the bones and went, and it was her person did the analysis and was like, this is what you're gonna say.
Yeah. So he's mad at her, although, and I would say that writes off like her maybe being a villain, but she does literally have goons that go and like search for her. Like, she has like 3 guys that get attacked by Alice and one gets their finger cut off. So she does have henchmen.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is this just like a bunch of PIs she's hired and she is actually not, she's fairly legit. She's just doing this all secretive because she didn't want Jacob to find out.
I don't know. The bomb that they said, it was an inside job. Again, that was her company that it was from. She's developing some weapons grade thing that Alice wants. I don't know. She still feels real sketchy.
Yeah, that's fair, I suppose. And the other plot, of course. There's a lot of stuff with Luke helping Kate.
He's grown on me.
He's grown me a little bit. I think their banter is not bad. Some of the the various jokes about Batman wouldn't have done this, like, oh, my date's arrived, like, yeah, Batman wouldn't have done this. I think Kate typically looks quite good in this fighting, especially when she's fighting Magpie. I thought it looked pretty fun.
It's getting better because I remember in the first episode, the one-on-one fighting with Alice was the worst part. And
the CG wasn't great, but I actually did quite enjoy mainly because it was kind of silly, but kind of fun. Was Magpie like grapples up to the building and she's CG, and then Kate just like grapples her with a grapple gun and just pulls it off the building. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know if that's the intended reaction they wanted, but I enjoyed it all the same.
I feel like it was because it was, it was kind of played like that for me.
Yeah. It just luckily there was a pool there, although the pool was quite shallow. I'm still convinced
I think it was more of a fountain than a pool.
Yeah, but I'm convinced she'd have still broken her back from the height she was at. But whatever.
I don't think Kate gives a shit.
I'll cripple her. It's fine.
Yeah. But she'll steal anymore. She's crippled.
Yes. So that was more or less Batwoman. All on the relationship stuff with the blonde that she met, the bartender, who. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of this. It was kind of like, I kind of like the point that it made, which is Kate realizing that she doesn't have time for this because she has to like pick being the vigilante, and and I also kind of like this idea that she's very proud that she doesn't hate who she is, but now she does. I thought that was an interesting thematic thing to bring up. Like, she, ever since she came out as gay, she's been very proud of that, and she makes a point of not hiding who she is. So this idea that she has to have a secret identity now and like hide that she's Batwoman is a weird.
It's why she's so terrible at the lies.
Yeah, she's an alien. It's an alien concept to her. So
which I appreciated that the other one immediately calls her out and going, "Hey, you're pretty terrible at these lies," because it was painfully bad, and I was like, they can't believe this. Yeah, no, I like that part of it. I didn't necessarily love the plot line. It was still kind of like by the numbers to get through, but I like kind of the point that it was making. Yeah. So, I'll call it I'll call that a draw. Sure.
If you will.
Why not?
That was okay. I think 3 and 4 were definitely better than 1 and 2. I think her being Batwoman and actually doing Batwoman-y things is mostly working. The narration still sucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could still do a tone down the narration and. Sure, I guess we're quoting Rihanna now. I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, she quotes Rihanna and says, "Yes, Bruce, I just quoted Rihanna," which whatever. But yeah. So yeah, that's Batwoman. Which will take us on to and if we forget anything, by all means, bring up stuff we forgot in the comments, and we'll address them. We're recording quite late this week, so
Yeah.
We're truncating these a little bit because we had news to talk about. Flash, of course, was next. Episode 4 of Season 6. It is called There Will Be Blood.
Of course it is.
Oh, jeez. This is the one I'm going to struggle with, I think. Ralph...
He's looking for his wife.
Well, not wife yet. They had that little dig at the end where he's like, it's not like I'm looking to get married. Like, ha ha ha. He's looking for
Yes,
Sue.
yes, we know you're looking for Sue.
Yes. So he's miserable, so is Cisco. They're both miserable about Barry dying. And do you know what the thing is? This episode sucks quite a lot. I think Nash Wells...
boring kind of sucks.
Yeah. Nash Wells has a couple of funny moments, which was fine.
I'm finding him a nice, refreshing kind of Wells.
Yeah, he's kind of cocky. He's kind of the Indiana Jones Wells.
Yeah, I think I said last week to someone who was Indiana Wells.
Yeah, I can see that. Him being cocky and teleporting them and just kind of like having that sly smile and winking at them and that kind of thing. It's a little bit, it's different from HR. It's different from Harrison. It's different from OG Wells.
Harry,
yeah. But I will say this episode mostly sucks. But I will at least give it credit that the one scene at the end with Barry and Joe, did work. That one scene.
I mean,
because Joe is a good actor.
I was gonna say, he has nailed every single dad speech in the entire show.
I know. He single-handedly kind of resuscitates this episode from being just forgettable fluff.
Because he has 2 in this episode as well.
Because it's
There's
weird.
one with Ralph too.
That's true. That one's not as good, admittedly. But
it's not as good. But that's because they were saving it for the big one.
But this is the thing. Like Barry talking about what he's learned in the last few years, it makes me roll my eyes every time because I'm like, Barry, you've learned nothing. You make the same mistakes over and over again.
He's still whipping off that Cal for anyone.
He's like, I'm still trying to train Cisco to be the new leader. And I thought it was weird how because Cisco did one thing that he disagreed with, he's like, maybe I chose wrong. And I'm like, Barry, you are not qualified to choose a new leader, you prick.
I don't understand why you chose Cisco in the first place.
Sure, I mean, I don't. Whatever.
I mean, I don't follow the logic, but whatever.
But but the scene with Joe does work really well, and Joe breaking down and crying because he's going to lose his son is actually quite heartbreaking. And it's the only because everything else with Cisco and Ralph just being moody about it, all of the drama that comes from it is the same bullshit Force CW thing where they're just creating conflict. Whereas Joe was more interesting because he was trying to basically pretend all episode that he was fine with it, and then at the end completely broke down in tears. And it set it up nicely where Cecile kind of because he says, hey, I'm going to stay back for a little bit, I'll meet you at home, and she sort of senses how he feels and goes, oh yeah, of course, that's okay. And you sort of get from her reaction that he's really feeling something. Yeah. And then Barry goes to talk to him, and he starts talking about how how important it is, and Barry's like, hey, I became the Flash because you taught me right from wrong. You did that. You were my father. You did this. You did. And Joe just breaks down crying, and he's not ready. It's not fair. It's not fair that you've saved the world, and that this is what your ending is. It's not fair that I get to have a life and go home to a wife and retire and all these things, and you don't. And I'm like, I guess it just proves that even a show as shit as The Flash, once every maybe 15 episodes can pull out a great scene like this. And it actually works.
Yeah.
The rest of the episode sucks. I thought the whole stuff with blood work, I thought it was weird how we go from him getting the idea to do, because the whole scene where he's like, well, basically the reason why it worked with that, that guy that, that's Romero. I remember it because it was Romero because he's a zombie, right? Night of the Living Dead, blah, blah. George Romero, director. Good movies. But he basically has this moment where he's like, if I want, because they have to feel fear, they have to die, but they also have to feel fear first. So I'm going to have to not only kill people, and it does that really cheesy thing where it goes a close up of he's doing no harm on his oath on the wall.
Oh no! Do you know what really bothered me as well? Though?
Let me make my point. He has this cheesy moment where he's like, I have to kill. It goes to that close up on the plaque. It comes back to his face. I have to kill. And literally, the next time we see him, we cut to him, like we get like a medical alert in the base, Star Labs. It's like, oh, there's something at the hospital, something's going on, we'll have to go there, everyone gear up, super time, right? They go to the hospital. Then the first thing we see of him after he's been hit with this realization he's going to have to kill people, he's already killed like 3 people and he's got someone by the neck. He's like full on supervillain monster of the week. And I'm like, this was clearly meant to be a difficult thing for him. This was meant to be a thing where he was going to have to like work up to it, and like
yeah.
I would have liked an episode here based on the concept that they've given me of him like almost maybe killing someone, like him like following someone and like almost like, going through with it, but then shit, like backing out of it and like thinking that he can't do it, and then maybe by the end of a story, by the end of an arc in an episode, finally building up the courage to kill someone. They could have made like a really cool little plot out of like someone trying to become a killer, and no, we're just going to cut to it, and he's already got someone by the neck, and he's like, no, come closer, Flash, and I'm going to cut their artery and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It went from, I mean, it wasn't interesting, and I'm not saying like they've done a good job of it, but it felt like it skipped an entire like episode story arc for him.
It did. It bothered me though, is just how he came to the conclusion that fear is the fear releases whatever it was that it does into the blood, and that's the bonding agent. I mean, your one example is one guy who was alive versus blood bags. How do you suddenly get to fear? That's the key, and be like that certain like. The man that you're a scientist, you're a research scientist as well.
And hell, why is there a man
hypothesis first?
And for some reason, this Nash Wells knows about this magical serum that can protect someone from antimatter, so could potentially save Barry, but also will save blood work from his disease. So Barry makes this choice to give it to him.
Magical Dominator juice, I think.
Yeah, Dominator juice. Yeah. Some Dominator jizz. I don't know. It's
I don't understand, like curing the cells. Sure, I understand how it could do that. And then Cisco's tells, would that save someone from antimatter, hypothetically? It's like, well, I don't see why not. I mean, I see why not. Very different scenario here.
Yeah, they're just so different. There's no reason for them to line up and be the same thing. I don't know. It was just bullshit Flash science. More so, perhaps. I mean, not quite. We can freeze laser beams bad.
It's up there,
but it's getting close to that level. We're getting close.
Oh dear. I wonder if it's ever going to top that.
Well, it's already brought McGregor syndrome before, which was made famous by like Batman and Robin.
That's like hey, look at this reference.
I know.
I can let that slide.
But that's the thing, like Cisco's like, we should try and explore ways to save you and save the the multiverse at the same, solve that problem. And Barry's like, no, we're going to try and help others. And Cisco makes a good point. He's like, what, we're going to try and solve cancer in the next 5-7 weeks? Like. And I'm like, he's got a good point. And this is the thing, if they do somehow successfully save someone from cancer, it's like, well, why haven't you been trying to cure cancer the whole time? Because clearly you had the means to do so. You've been pricks not curing cancer all this time, you assholes.
It does actually weirdly make Barry feel like he's been a selfish dick for like at least 4 seasons, in the sense that he's had them prioritize all their research. Just, hey, let's just cure meta thing. Let's just do stuff that helps us. But we can cure the entire metagene problem in about 3 weeks. How long do you reckon it'd take us to do cancer? He never once posed that question.
This is a stupid thing. Never raise the question of how quickly your genius scientists on a TV show can cure cancer, because it just makes us go, well, they're clearly pricks then for not doing it. Wasted too much time.
Exactly.
God damn it. Yeah. Oh, actually, there was one other thing I wanted to mention, not a plot beat, but I did want to mention that Frost at one point said, "Are you ready? Have you been thinking about your life post-crisis?" And I went, "Someone just used the phrase post-crisis." In continuity. I'm like, this is weird. I'm so used to talking about post and pre-crisis. It's just weird to hear a character say, "You ready for post-crisis?" Like,
and
no.
I'm like, yes, I'm ready for post-crisis. Honestly, I hope Crisis shakes things up on the shows.
I do as well. Yeah, I hope they get a whole new writing staff. That's what I hope.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? There are rumors going around today of Martian Manhunter going over to Legends from Supergirl.
Oh, that'd be fun.
As a result of
That-
Crisis shenanigans.
That'll be another example of seeing how much better they write a character than the show they came from. You know, remember Wally, how he suddenly became fun because he was on Legends?
Yeah, and Howard's a great actor, so...
Yeah. And to be fair, he has had moments to shine on Supergirl, but it's been a while.
It has.
It's been a while. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the final show of the week, which is Arrow Season 8, Episode 3. It's called Leap of Faith. I think it's easily the weakest of the episodes this season so far. Yeah. Partly because, like, everything, going back to the lazy writing stuff, everything with Thea just reeked of, we're not going to have her in the crossover, so we're going to try and give you a bullshit reason as to why she's not going to be around during Crisis. And the bullshit reason is that for some reason she can now speak Arabic, which is just convenient so that she can read a book by the end of the episode. But
I mean, she could have learnt that. She's been gone for a year. At least.
No, she could have, but it still feels lazy as shit. Like, how many people just go away for a year and come back having learnt a language like that? Like, it'd be one thing if it was like
depends where they were living. If she was living somewhere that spoke Arabic,
that's reeked of lazy writing bullshit.
I mean, it's the least of my problems.
I don't know. I rolled my as soon as she said, even at first, because I thought it may just be a joke. But when he had to get her to read the book at the end, so he knew what it said, I was like, oh, this was just lazy. So you don't have to explain how he, was able to understand it. Like how the information actually got to him, right? But the big thing here, apparently, in the space of one episode, Talia al Ghul is now willing to be a hero, and Thea and Talia are going to team up to start a new league of heroes to replace the League of Assassins. And Thea and Talia are, because they're both technically daughters of Ra's al Ghul's, because as you know, Malcolm Merlyn used to be Ra's al Ghul,
Do you know what? There was a moment where Talia said, "Just because you're an heir to the demon," I was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he used to be Ra's al Ghul." That was like my drunken thought process, word for word.
So I was laughing and rolling my eyes a lot at the end because this just was all such contrived bullshit. But I do. It's one of those things where I feel like to give characters like reasons to leave, they like give them something that just doesn't feel feasible, and often it'll be a job. It's kind of like Jimmy being like offered senator or whatever, like a couple of episodes ago, where they're just given the opportunity. It's like, no, real people in the real world need to like try years for that. Did? Yeah, I think Curtis got some insane job, that was like, you don't just get offered that at random. At least not usually, anyway. And even if it does happen occasionally in the real world, it's just hard to swallow when a character in a TV show gets it.
Generally speaking, people apply for jobs.
That is true. There are kind of... There's exceptions if you're already in the same field. Like, I know, like, TV and movies, for example, that oftentimes there's people just getting called up saying, hey, I've got a position and I thought you'd be good for it. That happens a lot, but, like, it's within the same field. It's like people who you've worked with before. It's never like, hey, you're a newspaper person. Hey, I'm in Washington. Would you like to run for Senate?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I mean, again, that's a weird one because people do sort of run and build a campaign and sort of build up from there. It's not like you just get offered a job, but
yeah, you have to be well, you don't have to be, but in this case, he's a known personality already, so it's like, hey, why don't we use him? Yeah,
so that one is a bit more feasible. That's just the most recent thing where someone had a sudden opportunity, but
he didn't take it anyway, so it was all irrelevant.
It's fine. No, he's now the editor of his own newspaper. So. Anyway, what was it going? Yeah, so the main plot of this episode, which is Thea and Oliver going to get this book in Nana Parbat, which, by the way, Thea is now just as good at climbing cliffs as Oliver is, because there's a casual scene where they just like stop halfway up this cliff to talk.
I mean, you climb one, you climb more.
Yeah, but I don't really buy that she can. I don't know. I mean, not that I really bought that Oliver can do it, but Oliver at least had 5 years of all this magical training on the island. Thea, much like Laurel, was like, after 6 episodes of training, she's suddenly like
If this had been not long after that, I would absolutely agree with you. But that was years at this point.
She's been here for like a year on her own, sure. Maybe she has.
She's been doing this. She's been going off.
Here's the problem though, because I never bought the transition in the first place. She's never evolved in my head from Thea, the drug addict sister. You know, she's never really evolved to me to actually buying that she can do all this.
No,
sort of stuff.
I get that. I'm not defending that. It was
if
that transition
anything,
period was
Laurel's actually better off now because it's actually Earth 2 Laurel who has a whole different history. So I actually buy her way better than I ever bought original Laurel.
Yeah, no, me too.
You know, she has more menace. She's better at playing that part. But anyway, so I would describe the plot of this episode, which is them looking for this book, which may have information about the Monitor in it. I would describe it as a plot that felt like something that used to be in the flashbacks. Like, it felt like a flashback plot.
Yeah.
Which made it feel just really kind of whatever. Obviously, they meet up with Talia. Talia betrays them. There's this other group of assassins who are kind of there, just so they've got bad guys to fight, basically. I mean, that's another reason why they exist.
Pretty much. And they use some traps on each other.
Yes. I did enjoy a couple of them getting burned alive.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
That was fun. So that was kind of it. The ending kind of made Oliver think that the Monitor might actually be causing the crisis. Although I wonder if the book's incorrect and it's actually talking about the Anti-Monitor. Because Oliver and that don't know about the Anti-Monitor yet. There's been no hint of them.
No hint whatsoever, no.
And we've seen photos of him, so we know he's coming.
And it notably didn't mention him by name, the Monitor, in this, because Talia didn't know the name when he said it. So it was, well, I mean, who knows? Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be the thing. He's going to not trust the Monitor, and then it's going to be no, that's my brother, the Anti-Monitor.
I hope it's not as cheesy as I expect on CW.
Oh, it will be. You know it will be.
Of course, CW is going to make it all into family drama.
Oh yeah, we'll have the World Forger and Perpetua in a couple of seasons' time. Don't you worry. We're going to have
I'm all for it.
Family affair. There was a nonsense plot with Diggle and Lila protecting some mother and kids. There were
some mother and kid. His kid to be
as well. Yeah, Bronze Tiger's kid, but they're sneaking around, like this party, and some generic British bad guys like recognizes Lila.
Who I think we're supposed to recognize this guy because they mentioned this mission that they got made in. That I assume this was a couple of seasons ago that this happened, but no, I got nothing. I'm sorry.
I was falling asleep during these scenes. I'm not gonna lie.
I just know another bit, some references to something or other, and I'm like, I'm sure I'm supposed to know what this is, but I really don't.
Yes, weird. I was actually thinking during this, like, when are we going to see Renee and Dinah again? Because they're still regulars on the show, and they've been gone for 2 episodes now. But we do see them at the end. Obviously, something we expected to happens at the end. There's a white light flashes, and it's actually right at a pivotal moment in the future, because the future plot, Zoe gets killed. Which, by the way, good luck telling Renee that his daughter's been killed in the future. Yeah, that'll go down well. By JJ, no less, by Diggle's son.
Oh, I want to see Renee. You put a gun to JJ's head.
What, little kid JJ?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
But there's a white flash of light. There's a whole thing where Mia apparently really cares about William now and doesn't want him in danger because it's her brother. It's her only family, damn it. Even though she didn't really care about him last season, so whatever. Yeah. They've bonded. And the big white flash of light, it brings Oliver back to, you know, the main base, and, you know, Dinah and Renee are there. Diggle's apparently gotten back from his trip with Lila. But on the other side of Oliver, also transported, presumably by the Monitor, is the kids. It's Mia and William and Connor. So that's where we leave off for next episode. And this should possibly be entertaining. Possibly.
This is going to be the backdoor pilot episode, I assume.
Possibly. Unless they just stick around now. Because I feel like Mia's... Again, if we're going with the idea that she's going to stick around in present day so that she's with the regular aged versions of Dinah and Laurel, it makes sense for her to stay around.
It does. Honestly, the only thing that surprised me about this, you said, oh, well, we were waiting for this to happen anyway, is I thought we were going to do an episode where Oliver went to the future.
Oh, sure. I thought that may happen first, admittedly. But I definitely expected her to come back.
I know her to come back, absolutely. But I thought it was going to be a case of, you know how at the end of the first episode, he couldn't save anyone, really? when everything was going to shit. I thought, okay, he's going to save his daughter, and that'll be the only person he can save. And screw you, William. You weren't ever really my son anyway.
Okay. I could see it.
It's weird having them all here because none of the others were listed in the show.
Oh, well, I don't necessarily think the next one's the backdoor pilot, though. I think it might be, but I think like if she sticks around for the rest of the season, I could see the actual backdoor pilot being later on in the season where it focuses on her teaming up with the Canaries, because because I mean, Laura might not even be in the episode next week. That might not be the backdoor pilot.
No, it's true. I was surprised that the others came back with her. Is more what I'm getting at here.
I just don't care. I'm not surprised or unsurprised. I'm just.
Fair enough.
I don't care.
I don't really care that much.
They might die, they might go back to the future and she'll stay behind. Maybe they'll stick around too. Part of me expects them to be honest. I feel like they probably belong in that show with them.
They do, which is why I feel like it's always been weird they've never been mentioned.
To be fair, they've not mentioned anyone outside of the three leads though, which is Green Arrow and the two Canaries.
No, I agree, but I feel like because there was you're not, there might be all these other things that we're going to cast later. These are characters that are already part of the show that already would make sense to me in those articles to mention, oh yeah, we're planning on having them around as well. It always felt like an omission to me.
I don't know. I mean, they could just easily turn around and announce those two are joining the show. Could,
yeah, they could.
Any time between now and pilot order time. So it may just be a case of they've locked in the three leads because they're the most important, but it could just be that they're either both dead or they're both back in the future by the end of the season, but Mia sticks around.
I'm okay with either.
If anything, I feel like maybe they'll go back before the backdoor pilot and it'll be like her adjusting to this new like timeline for her with the others, and that'll be the backdoor pilot. Or maybe it is just next episode. I don't know. But I'm expecting
we'll
her
find
to.
out.
I'm kind of expecting her to be around for the rest of the season. Not that we'll necessarily see her every episode, because if Oliver's darting around, but whenever he's back at Star City, whenever he interacts with these characters, I feel like she's going to be there now for the rest of the season.
Yeah. She's going to be there for Crisis, at least.
I would assume so. Or maybe she goes back and then Crisis is what rejiggers her.
Shenanigans,
yeah. Because if she doesn't end up going back, Crisis will fix it and she'll be back in present day for her show.
Because she has to be.
Yeah. Yes. I will say, she's not a terrible actor to play Mia, but I will say her crying over Zoe's like dying body was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was. I agree. She's far from the worst actor these shows have seen. She's not amazing, but she's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say she's good, but she's not terrible. She's not.
She's fine. I never blamed her for most of the material, the way it comes out. It's generally just terrible scripts. She's not the only one to suffer in that department.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Thea's got a big goodbye with Oliver, and again, there's a lot of awkward things like, oh, you're meant to be with Nissa. Where's Nissa? Oh, she's in Thailand doing something. And
then they're like, well, what about Roy? Let's just not talk about Roy.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he came back. He told me what happened, but he's not here just now. Okay, and the funny thing is we're probably going to see Roy again before the end of the show. We'll probably see Nissa again before the end of the show. And what's funny about it is it's just a case of, they want them all to have their own separate episodes, and it's just, I don't know, every time they try to explain it, we joke about it in Flash all the time, like, oh, so-and-so is at this thing, or so-and-so is away doing this for the episode. I mean, Thea herself, like, there was like weeks and weeks of it, where it's like, oh, she's at a conference this week, or she's at this week.
Yeah. I need to mention the thing that annoyed me the most.
Oh, go on.
Music cue.
Oh, is this from last week? Because I laughed last week actually. Whenever Laurel showed up and we got the
Yep. And I'm like, okay, fine. I hate it, but you've co-opted the League of Assassins theme and given it to Laurel, whatever. And then this week they used it again for League of Assassins. Make up your goddamn mind. Can't have it both ways. You gave it to her, or it's a League of Assassins. It's not both.
Next week should be more of an interesting shit show, if nothing else, because all these characters are together. This week was definitely the most boring of the episodes so far.
It was relying on all like this flashbacky of a season that wasn't very good. The Thea stuff, I mean, who cares? It was all these excuses. Next episode, it should be fresh, right? All these new interactions.
Joe never even mentioned from Flash those awful little flashbacks that you got of Rosmo Bloodwork. of his mum.
Oh yeah, forgot about those.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, yeah, there was actually flashbacks in another show last week. I just can't remember which one. I was like, oh, they were definitely bright. There was like small bright flashbacks, and it took me a minute to realize it was Flash. I was like, who was it? Who was it? Oh, it was him.
Yeah.
I hope Cicada comes back for the crossover.
Why not?
Oh, I hope it's Oliver. I want Oliver versus Cicada when he's hopping around multiverse Earths. That's what I want.
And Oliver just takes him out instantly.
Anyway, that's the show, guys. that's been television from Multiverse. If I'm picking a favorite, honestly, Batwoman wins this week. It was the most interesting one to watch.
Yeah, probably.
Not a huge honor this week. It was rough going. Best scene goes to Joe and Barry in The Flash. I'll give it that.
Yep.
But as far as episodes go, not a great week for DC TV shows. But maybe next week will be better. Maybe it will.
We live in hope.
But let us know what you thought of the episodes in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. You can ding the bell on YouTube, make sure you get the notifications. You can let us know what you thought in the comments. I said that already, but I'd already started the sentence again, so I thought I just need to finish it now for the cadence to be right. You can support us, of course, by rating the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars, helps us out a lot. It lets more people find us because they pimp it out a little bit more. You can support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your troubles. And we are still discussing, and when I say discussing, I mean we're going to discuss something related to this show for Patreon. We just haven't done it yet because we've been busy, but we are talking, and it'll be something to do with either continuing Smallville or Gotham or alternating between them or something as a Patreon thing.
Or Titans.
I mean, Titans could go into that pool as well. I've not heard promising things about season 2, I have to say.
I mean, you say that like you have heard promising things about Gotham and Smallville.
Yeah, but I know of their reputations. I know enough of those now that I know what to expect.
Yeah, I think I know what to expect after a season of Titans. Thank you very much.
Dun, 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 dun,
I miss drinking for that every week.
I don't know. I don't know what the schedule would be for that. You know, we need to get everything else on schedule first before we consider doing it. But it's something we're talking about and something that TV Multiverse fans can get for their $1 on Patreon. But nothing's happening yet, so don't jump for that reason. Go to Patreon because you want to support us and keep all the content coming and show your support. And at least a few people have done since we came back with Multiverse, which I'll take as a vote of thank you for continuing the show. So we're happy
I think
to do
it's
so.
just pity dollars for making us watch this shit every week.
I'll take petty dollars. I have no problem with that. Yes, we deserve petty dollars for this. But yeah, go and check that out. Obviously, I should mention Comics from the Multiverse. We talk about DC Comics every week. That comes out every Sunday, and it's us talking about the recent DC Comics. It's both myself and Connor, but also Matt, who's there. Although he won't be there this week because he's away for a weekend. But we usually the 3 of us, and we'll be back for that. So thank you once again for watching or listening. Most appreciate it. Keep watching DC TV shows and silly superhero cape nonsense, and we will see you next time. And the reason why I'm stalling here for a second is because I'm just remembering a little bit of CG from one of the shows. I think it's when
I thought you just forgotten your outro.
No. I was just trying to remember the moment. I think it's when Batwoman goes around the little girl. The moment itself I liked, but the actual jump and then sort of dash around her was CG, and it looked really kind of goofy. I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Keep watching superhero shows, and remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.